Hello everyone. I'm just waking up early in the morning. It's an early start for me today. It's 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, something like that. Decided to do a kind of a YouTube build thing for the Firebird, my old Firebird in fact. Um, the first video here is just kind of the first steps that I've already done, some background story on the car itself, and maybe some plans that I have in the near future. The first few steps, but yeah, the garage is a mess right now. Well, it's a storage locker, but I turned it into a garage. It's got power and lights and everything. So, yeah, I got a pile of crap that I got to clean up that I took out of the car. Yeah, all that came out of the car. But yeah, this is my old Firebird here. Story about this car. I used to race against this car back in 2009, 2010, and I was running a LT1 Camaro back then, and it was pretty fast, but it did beat the Firebird one time, but the guy driving the Firebird at the time was having problems with his tires or something or other, and was slipping and sliding all over the place. But most of the time the Firebird would beat my Camaro. So eventually, about a year or so later, I ended up actually buying the car from them. It was a father and son team that owned it, and they were building another car, a Chrysler Cordoba, or it was kind of already built by that time, but I think they were trying to recoup some money and whatnot, so they offered this up to sale to me, and I bought it. I bought it for $3,000 at the time, back in 2010. I improved on it, made some improvements to the engine, and repainted it black. It was gold at one point. I'll show you that in the door jams later, but yeah, the main improvements I made were just making it run cooler, new radiator, new manual fan. It's what seemed to keep it coolest at the time. I did new headers on it and all that good stuff at the time, and it was doing well. And then I switched from the Hoosier slicks that they were using to the Nitto drag radials, which seemed to stick a lot better in the corners. It did really, really well on that. And I raced this car all the way up through 2013 season, and it almost never lost. The only time the car ever lost was if I screwed up and spun myself out. I did that once or twice, and then, or if I had mechanical trouble, but that almost never happened. And so I raced it for a good solid 3.5 seasons or so, and then I ended up selling it in early 2014, just because I was a new single dad at the time, and just, financial hard times, and I almost immediately regretted selling it the whole entire time. And starting in 2015, I tried to track it down again, but lost track of who owned it. And yeah, it's been around. It was in Minnesota for a few years. It went to Colorado. It was in North Carolina at one point, and then it's made its way down here to Florida, probably a little bit before I moved down here, which was dumb luck because I only had to drive 6 hours to go get it, rather than all the way back up to Minnesota. So that was nice. And some special things about this car is I actually met my daughter's mother because of this car. One of those times that I spun myself out, I spun out, flooded the car out, and I couldn't get it started for a couple hours, and I was getting frustrated in the pit area, so I basically slammed the hood shut and went up to the bar because my dad was up there just chit-chatting with people, and I met my daughter's mom in the bar that night. And normally I wouldn't go up there until after the races, so I widely regard this car as the reason to why we met and what happened that day as to why we met. And this was, well, it was the first car of mine that my daughter rode in ever. And yeah, it's got a lot of racing history behind this, in this car, and a lot of actual family history in it as well. So I was excited when I saw it resurface on Marketplace, and I called and verified it was the car and ended up buying it, the very next day. And here it is. It has not been taken care of all that great over the years since I had it, but I'm going to bring it back to the way I had it before. I'm going to get rid of these scrawny tires that are on it, little 195 street tires that even a stock 301 Firebird wouldn't hook up on these things. So yeah, there's a lot of plans. Right now, kind of the first step is cutting out the rust in the floorboards, and there's some in the trunk I've got to cut out as well. Kind of step 2 will be, I don't know, probably getting race seat, well, 2 race seats, driver and passenger, B&M ratchet shifter, which was traditional what I used at the time when I had this car before. And then sometime over the winter I'll get the wheels and tires, put those on, and then once all the rust is fixed and then wheels and tires and whatnot are on there, then I'll move on to engine tuning. The tune on it's messed up right now. It's an old carbureted engine. It's not an LS or anything, but it's not running right now, so I gotta work on that after I get everything else squared away. And those are kind of the first few steps that I'm going to be making with it. Oh, and I gotta cut off those stupid exhaust pipes that they put on it. God, those look awful. Yeah, but I'll open the door here and show you what I've done so far. So, yeah, as I mentioned before, when I first bought the car, it was gold, and you can see that in the door jambs here, because when I had it, I painted it black after having it just a few months, and I never painted the door jambs, and it looks like somebody tried at some point and didn't do it very well, but it's still black from when I painted it, on the outside anyways. So, yeah, I don't know if you can see that well, but I've already cut out a lot of the rust in the driver floorboard here, and that's a plus because I plan on removing the exhaust. The exhaust they put on it is too small, and I can now get at the header bolts right from inside the car. I don't have to jack it up or anything. So I think I'll probably do that before I weld in the new metal in that spot and in the passenger footwell as well. I haven't cut the rust out over there yet, so yeah, I gotta cut all that out as well. A little bit back here, and then I cut this one, but I had to stop because my very last cutting wheel that I had that day was pretty far worn down, and I couldn't really cut with it anymore, so I gotta get to the hardware store and buy some more. But yeah, I'll be probably doing that later today or tomorrow. Get more cutting wheels, cutting more rust out. Kind of completing that first step. But yeah, that's kind of what I got planned for it right now. And I'll describe it more in detail as I go along and as I make further videos, but I'll try to do an updated video every week or two and just progress. I don't actually plan to have it out on the track until, you know, March, April, May next year, 2023 season, but that should give me plenty of time to get what I need to get done on it. And then in a later video I'll pop the hood and show the engine, but I don't want to pop it right now because it's actually only loosely bolted onto the hinges, so I have to do that before I open it up in a video, but I'll do that at a later time. But yeah, I'm gonna get started on cleaning all this crap up and hauling it out, and then the seats are pretty ruined, so I'm gonna figure out what to do with those as well. I might keep the front seats, but I don't know. But back seats are definitely going. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video.